You can have the most amazing software and the most beautiful product, but that one thing breaking, that one corner of the fastener, that's just enough for just enough of your customers to say, sorry, it broke and I'm going to send it back and I want my money back. Fair enough. And that can sink a startup. Risk for hardware and software looks really different. For software, it's lovely. You can shift pixels. You can now use AI to generate hundreds of lines of code. Not that you should, but you could. And you can move almost as fast as your imagination will take you. Software's beautiful. And the iteration cycles are fast and they cost almost nothing. Hardware is so not that. Hardware is like hundreds of thousands of dollars, months and months of time. And that's if you get it right at the first shot. You never do. You want to iterate, which means it's years of your life per program, per product. It's many, many hundreds of thousands of dollars. And, hardware, the risk is that if in a complex integrated system, optical, electrical, mechanical, if one thing breaks, then the whole product is faulty. And that's, if it's not functionally faulty, it's cosmetically faulty. And that's a customer return. And that can kill the business.
And this is the reality of a hardware startup. In software, iterations, they can take hours, they cost almost nothing, and if they don't work, you just roll them back, no big deal. In hardware, however, features and fixes, they take months, sometimes years. They can cost thousands, hundreds of thousands, and if one component fails, then customers return that product. And a big recall can kill a company. That's why most companies build in software. It's safer, it's faster, and it's cheaper.
Hardware, the risks are existential, always. You're constantly dealing with existential risks. Now, hardware, though, you have the tangibility of the thing. It's physical and you can feel it and you can end it and you can, there's a satisfying tangibility. And I think that humans are built to sort of want to ingest that. We're very sensory and somatic and we love it. Software is not that. There is something fundamentally not satisfying about software. And you can see it and your ideas can flow with it, but it's like a child going to an art museum and not being able to touch. There's always something that feels a little bit incomplete from just a human sensory standpoint. When you've got great software living in great hardware, it's light upon light as a human being. So there's tremendous creative satisfaction and potential at the intersection, but each presents with its own risks, and being able to manage both it's just a constant balancing act. Very little has changed in hardware development, and there's only now recently more of an effort for modern software processes and software itself to find its way into the hardware development process, which means that you can simulate things, you can more quickly iterate on things, and you can do all of that, keeping the costs a lot lower. So that's good for time, cost, and just product quality. So we're now seeing more of that in hardware, which is great. And so that's something that we try to do as a team, is we try to cross-pollinate how we think about software development with how we think about hardware development to see if there's ways we can sort of remix the latter.
Hardware development is finally learning from software. Traditional hardware was design, prototype, test, discover issues, redesign, repeat. It's slow and expensive. Hardware is hard. Modern hardware, simulate digitally, test in software, iterate virtually, and only then manufacture. The same software thinking that enables fast iterations for code is now being applied to hardware. Simulation tools, digital twins, computational design doesn't eliminate the risk. Hardware is still expensive and slow compared to software, but it compresses that cycle time and it reduces the cost and it improves the quality.
In the past, people would need to impose a sense of personality onto the artifact itself, the industrial design of the device itself, give it a sense of whimsy, a little bit of play. And we still think that matters. Similarly, in software UI, you want to give it a sense of play and a sense of whimsy, if that fits your experience, of course. But either way, in the past, we've wanted personality to still embed in how the product looks, how it works, and how you engage with it. But you raise a good question. Now with AI, personality can literally leap off the page. It's something that's talking to you. It's something that, in our case, it's seeing and hearing what you see and hear in real time, and it's able to respond to that. You can customize the voice and the personality. And so there's sort of this limitless opportunity now. It's a whole new sort of side of the Rubik's Cube, if you will, for us to think about personality as leaping out of the product and, dare I say, something that you build a bit of a relationship with. And, earlier I said we have to be very careful to toe that line carefully or thoughtfully. We actually don't think it's something that ought to be replacing the relationships you build with other human beings. There's good science around how healthy that is for us.
And this is where AI is likely to make another impact on hardware. In the past, personality lived in the industrial design, the curves, the colors, the materials. You held an Apple product and you knew it was Apple. But now, that personality is more conversational. Your AI glasses, well, they're going to see what you see, hear what you hear. They'll respond in near real time.
Because it's going to be in all of our lives. Whether we're the one making the purchase decision, we're the user, or if it's someone else who we happen to be socializing with, or, a passerby wearing a device like this with a camera on it, it's going to be in the collective sphere. And so it's something that all of us ought to be grappling with, because we need to bring that discernment to the buying decisions we make. Who are the companies and what are their business models? What's the real agenda behind this device that they're trying to sell to me?